Hello friends, good evening. Welcome to my podcast W5. Wow Woman Winning Wonderful World. Today is Gudi Padwa. So, सृष्टी आग ओकत असताना, पाण्याच्या एका थेंबासाठी त्रस्त असताना, जगण्यासाठी अशक्य अवघड परिस्थिती असताना, निसर्ग मात्र थंडगार वारा, रसदार आंबा, आंबट गोड चिंच, तुरटसर आवळा, सुगंधी मोगरा, मंद हिरवा चाफा, मारवा आणि दवना यांची निर्मिती करण्यात गुंतलेला असतो. सोनेरी रंगाच्या अमूल्य कोवळ्या पालवीची उधळण पण करत असतो. जिवंतही राहणे अवघड अशा विपरीत परिस्थितीतही रडत न बसता आपल्यातील सर्वोच्च गुणांचे प्रदर्शन करण्याचा संदेश तो माणसाला देत असतो. आपल्यातील सर्वोच्च गुणांची, आपल्या सर्वोच्च कर्तृत्वाची गुढी उत्तुंग पातळीवर जाऊन सदैव चमकत राहण्यासाठी शके 1944 शुभकृत नाम संवत्सरारंभ सर्वांना खूप खूप शुभेच्छा. अशाच शब्दांना साजेशा एक गुढी उभारली गेली 18व्या शतकात, जी उभारली त्या काळातल्या रणरागिणीने, मुंबई कल्याणची यमुना जोशी. अँड सो फ्रेंड्स, our today's wow woman is Anandibai Gopal Joshi, who is first Indian female doctor of Western medicine. Maiden name Yamuna Joshi, was born on 31st March 1865 in Kalyan, Bombay Presidency of Maharashtra, India, in a landlord family. She was raised in a Marathi Chitpavan Brahmin family. Actually, for me, raised becomes very difficult word here, as according to practice of that time and pressure from society and community, she was married at very tender age of just 9 years. बाल विवाह. हथली पर रखकर नसीब तू क्यों अपना मुकद्दर ढूंढता है, जरा सीख उसी समंदर से जो टकराने के लिए पत्थर ढूंढता है. She was married to Shri Gopalrao Joshi, a widower, who was 20 years older to her. That is, she was 9 years and he was 29 years at the time of marriage. Gopalrao did her naming ceremony, as is the practice to change name after marriage, and called her Anandibai Gopal Joshi. Friends, here I would like to appreciate him a lot, because he not only gave her a new name, but with the passage of time, he also gave her a new identity, which is remembered even today. Also, he was like, behind every successful woman there is a man, and for this wow woman, I feel that the name Anandibai followed by Gopalrao is sparkling, because as Gopalrao was the person who history remembers Anandibai, so she was brought forward by Gopalrao, hence Anandibai followed by Gopalrao. To me, it sounds very extraordinary. It was his progressive thinking that played a landmark role in her becoming one of the earliest pioneers in health sector. In 18th century, it was very unusual for husbands to focus on their wives' education. Gopalrao was obsessed with the idea of Anandibai's education and wanted her to learn medicine and create her own identity in the world. One day, he found Anandibai cooking in kitchen with his grandmother instead of reading, and so he became angry and beat her, which was unusual because in that era, husbands would beat their wives for reading instead of cooking, which was vice versa of this case. This created impact on Anandibai, and she started study and more focused on education. Gopalrao worked as a postal clerk in Kalyan. Later, he was transferred to Alibag and then Kolhapur. At the age of 14, Anandibai gave birth to a boy. Her son who survived only for 10 days because of lack of medical care. And this proved to be turning point in Anandi's life and inspired her to become physician. Later, Gopalrao tried to enroll her in missionary school, and not working out, they moved to Calcutta, where she learned to speak and read Sanskrit and English. Gopalrao was consistently motivating Anandibai to study medicine. He, at his level, not left a single door to knock to seek the opportunity. In 1880, he sent letter to Royal Wilder, a well-known American missionary, stating his wife's interest and inquiring about suitable post in US for himself. While Wilder could not help Anandibai, the reason was that he wrote Gopalrao that he would give them opportunity provided Joshis convert themselves to Christianity. The Brahmin couple were against this proposition, though they were aware of the benefits of doing so even within India. But Gopal Rao believed in ये हौसला कैसे झुके, ये आरज़ू कैसे रुके, मंजिल मुश्किल तो क्या, साहिल धुंधला तो क्या, and so on. And thus, even though Wilder could not help them, but he published his correspondence in Missionary Review, Princeton University's periodical. And this eventually caught the eye of one Mrs. Carpenter from New Jersey. She was very much impressed by both Anandibai's desire to study medicine and Gopal Rao's support for his wife. Mrs. Carpenter wrote Anandibai to host her during her study. She told that she will be hosting her stay during her study. In 1883, Gopal Rao was transferred to Serampur, West Bengal, and he decided to send Anandibai by himself to America for her medical studies, despite her poor health. Though difficult, he convinced Anandibai to set an example for other women by pursuing higher education. News of her impending departure to United States in 1883 had spread, but couple was subjected to harassment from all communities alike. At that time, crossing sea to reach a distant foreign land was considered sin by upper caste community. People made unsolicited remarks, threw stones and cow dung on couple's residence, and even made a ruckus at the post office where Gopal Rao worked. But their aspirations were set in stone. So, 18-year-old Anandi declared to her audience at the Serampur College Hall that she wanted to go to America as she wished to study medicine. Ladies, both European and native, are naturally averse to exposing themselves in cases of emergency to treatment by male doctors. She further added, in my humble opinion, there is growing need for Hindu lady doctors in India, and I volunteer to qualify myself for one. She further pledged that she would not convert herself to Christianity and vocalized. And what vocalized her? Ambition of opening an Indian medical college for women after returning to her country. This speech, whose audience also included American Consul General, was widely publicized, and financial aid to support her noble endeavor poured in from across the country. Notably, the then Viceroy of India, Marquess of Ripon, contributed rupees 200 to the sum. In 18th century, rupees 200 was just a big amount. Then Anandibai travelled to New York from Calcutta by ship, accompanied by two female English missionary acquaintances. In New York, she was received by Mrs. Carpenter in 1883. Then her struggle started to get admission. Anandibai wrote letter to Women's Medical College of Pennsylvania in Philadelphia, asking for admission to medical program, which was second women's medical program in the world. And to her surprise, Russell Boldy, Dean of college, enrolled her, and he also praised her worship with a scholarship of $600 every month for the duration of program. Thus, at the age of 19, her medical training started, and also her beautiful relation with Mrs. Carpenter in the form of aunt and niece. But Anandibai's health worsened in America because of cold weather and unfamiliar diet. She contracted tuberculosis. But her intention to complete MD can be in lines. कल देर रात दो रूहों ने संगत की थी. कल देर रात तक दो रूहों ने संगत की थी. फिर उसके बाद सारी मुश्किलें तमाम थी. With her thesis on obstetrics among Aryan Hindus, she graduated MD in March 1886 by her sheer determination. In her graduation ceremony, Anandi received a standing ovation with President of College saying, the words were, I am proud to say that today should be recorded in golden letters in the annals of the college, as we have first Indian woman who is honoring this college by acquiring degree in medicine. She has the honor of very first woman doctor of India. Really, a wow moment. I can also leave it. She also received a congratulatory message from Queen Victoria, who was informed by this from college dean. From all this, I feel जब भारत ब्रिटिशों का गुलाम था तभी भी ब्रिटिशर्स भारतीयों के ब्रिलियंसी से गुलामी थे और वो उनको सलाम किया करते थे. In other words, quality, achieving goals, extraordinary accomplishment was very easily rewarded by Britishers, which I feel is not so easily rewarded in independent India. Even Lokmanya Tilak could not restrict himself from writing in Kesari and went to her with following remarkable words. I know how in the face of all the difficulties you went to foreign country and acquired knowledge with such diligence. You are one of the greatest women of our modern era. On her return to India, Anandi, of 21 years age, just 21 years age, was appointed as physician in charge of female ward of the Albert Edward Hospital by Princely State of Kolhapur. But ऐसे डॉक्टर की भगवान को ज़्यादा ज़रूरत महसूस हो गई और उन्होंने आनंदीबाई को अपने पास बुलाया. And friends, without getting much time to spare her knowledge for female patients and without being able to open Women's Medical College, Anandibai died of tuberculosis on 26th Feb 1887, just at the age of 22. A big loss to country as she left achieving a lot, doing voyage and whatnot to fulfill dream of her husband, a real Savitri, just at the age of 22 years. Her death was mourned throughout India. Her ashes were sent to Mrs. Carpenter, who gravely asked for it as she placed them in her family cemetery at Poughkeepsie, New York. The inscription in cemetery states that Hindu Brahmin girl, first Indian woman to receive education abroad and to obtain a medical degree. Friends, here we come to the end of Wow Woman story. But तिने प्रगतीची, कौशल्याची, मानवतेची 18व्या शतकात उभारलेली गुढी आनंदीच्या लेकी उंच उंच नेत आहेत हे बघून नक्कीच आनंदी सुखावत असेल. आय वुड लाइक टू एंड विथ जमाना सदियों तक उसे याद रखता है. जमाना सदियों तक उसे याद रखता है जो सिर्फ अपने लिए नहीं जीता है. Meet you tomorrow with next wow woman. Till then, keep smiling, be happy. Bye.